Yes, people, good morning. Welcome to the Morning View. Happy Tuesday, 26th of March, man. The international break is nearly over. It's nearly there. One more game, and then we can all get back to club football, especially because it's just meaningless friendlies, even though our boy Kobbie is shining. And it's probably going to shine even more tonight as well, which we're going to talk about. Kobbie's first England start is in the wakes. That's going to be happening. We've got to talk about INEOS' summer plan as well, because there was a lot yesterday on the Full View. I know we discussed quite a bit there. There's also some more stuff to talk about in terms of Ten Hag's future, how INEOS want to plan an overhaul, how they're ready to sort of push the button if they need to, ready to sort of reset if they need to. They're making plans, and we need to talk about what we want those plans to be by the summer, how we want them to take place, when we want them to take place. And it's not far. You know what I mean? It's not far. I'm getting notifications and emails about pre-season tour and this, that, and the other. And it's like, Josh says it to me all the time. When it gets to near just before Christmas, Josh says this thing. He goes, season's over. In his Josh way. He always says it. Season's over. And I kept saying to him, why do you always say that? Because by the time we get out of Christmas, there's a few games. And before you know it, it's the end of the season. Then we're on tour. And you know what? I thought about it. And he's right. It goes so quick.
We get to that stage of the season now. And it's a time of the season that is it's very exciting, very thrilling. You know, you find out who wins everything. You get into the end of the book. Yeah. You get into the end of the book. You get into the end of the film. You find out how it's going to end. And then you get your sort of cliffhanger for the sequel next season. But at the same time, this kind of stage of the season is something that frustrates and annoys me a lot, Flex. And the reason that is because when someone picks up an injury now, the media love to do out for the rest of the season. And you go, oh my God, out for the rest of the season, out for the rest of the season. You go, I can't believe it. And you go, how long's left of the season? They go, a couple of weeks. You go, oh, don't put that in the headline, Ted. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Oh, it's the truth.
It always happens.
For the remainder of the season.
Also, Flex, I think, we need to get this out of the way just quickly because I missed this yesterday because I was reading when you said this. Now, we were talking about stadiums yesterday, weren't we? We were talking about Man United and Old Trafford and possibly a 100,000 seater capacity stadium. Very exciting. And during that time, we were being very educational to the UV community. And we were saying, well, since we're talking about stadiums, what are some of the biggest stadiums in the world? The biggest one was in India. The second one was in North Korea. Now, I haven't gone back to watch this, so I'm leaning into what the community is saying. But they say, and I missed this because I was reading at the time, that you said, well, if you're watching in North Korea, drop a comment. And it was like, I don't think they'd be watching in North Korea, to be honest with you.
Oh, because they got the thing where they can't.
Well, yeah, they're a very sort of secluded country.
Yeah. Well, I'm inclusive, mate. There could be,
but they won't. No, there's no could. They're not.
Oh, it's just there's a serious.
They're not watching.
Why they're
not watching North Korea.
Is that? I'm not trying to get political and all that, but that's just closed off. Like
yeah.
Kim Dong, what's his name? That
Kim Jong-un. Yes.
Yeah.
Right, cool. There's even like a video of like occasionally these things sort of not get out, but they release them to sort of the rest of the world. And this is our IT hub or whatever,
right.
And it's people sitting at a computer, but they're not touching anything. It's just the screen. Like, so we're definitely, we're not.
Okay, well, you guys know me.
Korean fans.
You guys know me. I am just a regular guy who wants everybody to watch, and I believe that there are people out there. What, impossible?
Yeah. I mean, unless they've got...
What is that?
It's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible. Impossible.
All right, I ain't trying to get shut down.
No,
right,
that's why when I was saying that show, that was, I went, there was a wrestling show in North Korea. That's why it was so like, there's a documentary on it, Dark Side of the Ring. It's incredible. Like, you get there, your passport's taken off you, you have to stay in one place. Like, it's...
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Okay. Clearly you guys know, I don't know when it comes to the politics about different things. I ain't my forte. I just think we've got fans all over the world who just watch all the time. So naive of me, but if they're ready to say, well, maybe don't say this bit as well, because this might be impossible as well. I was going to say, if there's people from North Korea who don't live there anymore, who now live.
That is possible.
Is that possible?
Yes.
Right. And I don't want to offend anyone. Anyway, the biggest stadium is there, and
Second biggest stadium.
about second biggest stadium is there, and I still believe there are fans from there who are watching. Maybe not there.
I mean,
but
yeah. Maybe
they come from there. Shout out if you're from North Korea, not living there, and you're watching us.
Yeah,
that's the best.
That's possible.
That's about right.
That is possible. That is feasible.
There you go.
Unlikely, but it's, that is feasible.
And
I tell you what, as well, Flex.
Do some research.
Yeah, do some research as well.
I will.
We were chatting before we went live. Now I know this is going to probably annoy the community because we haven't even touched on football yet. But if you don't watch wrestling, now's the time. Now's the time. Okay, now is the time. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. Watch Raw last night. Final boss.
Owen came on the stream today, so excited, but no spoilers, like he said. Have you done anything on Owen Wrestle News 36555 because of this situation?
No, that'll be coming out in a few hours' time, around midday. Is video number 1 of the day.
Make sure you check that out at midday as well, because you're not going to want to miss what's going on in the wrestling world. Even I was like, I need to see this. Now.
Yeah. And me and KG are doing WrestleMania as well.
Oof. Yeah. On Owen Wrestle News 36555.
Yeah. We're doing WrestleMania.
When is that?
April 6 and April 7.
Wow, 2 days back to Jesus.
Well, KG was very surprised when I said both days. Well, first of all, he volunteered. I didn't even ask him. I never asked him to do it. And he went, I'm going to do WrestleMania. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then I went, both nights. He went, fuck. He went, yeah.
Well, oh, gosh. Right, I promise you, we do have football news. To the football news. INEOS's summer plan. Now, I mean, it's kind of not based off of reports, but kind of is. Is that fair to say, Owen?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we spoke about yesterday when it comes to the full view, but obviously you went on yesterday, so it's probably good to get your opinion on this. And really, the gist of the article was a situation where it was like, at the moment, INEOS don't have plans to sack Erik ten Hag, but if they do decide to sack Erik ten Hag, they've got alternatives in place. They also said that just because they have done their research on a Roberto De Zerbi, Julian Nagelsmann, a Gareth Southgate, is because they want to be prepared in all kind of situation and scenarios. They also said that they're planning for next season with Erik ten Hag as a manager, which includes, you mentioned, pre-season, includes transfers as well. And whilst the lack of Champions League or the poor Champions League form this season may go against him, as of right now, there are no plans to change. Now, as is always the case with news, people interpret it differently. So people that are very much for Erik ten Hag were like, good, see, that's it now. Put it to bed. He's not going anywhere. Whereas other people said, well, actually, that's kind of not different to what we've really heard before, which is, as of right now, there are no plans to get rid of him, but things can change. And if things do change, they're going to be prepared for said change. They also said that they're not going to make any change until their structure is firmly in place, which is Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, and it will actually largely be them that would make that decision, because Dave Brailsford and Jim Ratcliffe openly say they're not football experts. So why would they be the last call on a decision on a big footballing decision? So what do you make of all of that? Is that just a good continuation of the rumor mill, of the speculation, do you think?
Yeah, it is a continuation, but I have been thinking a lot in the last few weeks. Well, in the last week, obviously, so positives from, before the other weekend against Liverpool. It's in the aftermath of that, just buzzing and stuff. But in the midst of all that, I have been thinking about serious stuff. And it's like, it is the same what you're saying, because they are non-committal in saying, they could just come out and say, Erik ten Hag is our guy. He will, of course, he's going to be the manager next year. We've had a lot of change at this football club. There's about a lot to be change coming. So Jim Ratcliffe could have said this in
That's
all of his. He really could have said it. And so long as he doesn't say it, I think it's naive to think that that's impossible. The same way that if you think that he can't stay, that's naive to think that he's definitely going to get sacked. I think what you have to take it is with the pinch of salt that it is, and the reality of the situation, which is that there's a reason why they're being non-committal, because they haven't made that choice yet, or they're not ready. They're not ready to communicate that choice. Like there could be. We keep reading that. No. They've made their decision. Even if he gets
no decision's been made. Yeah, like
or no, it keeps changing. But the truth is, if you haven't come out and said, you don't know yet.
But this was going to be my question, because a couple of weeks ago, Gary Neville said, I think they've made up their mind. And I was the same. I was like, I think they've made up their mind. But are we backtracking?
Why don't they want to communicate it then?
Are we backtracking a little bit now?
We are. Because why? And again, we're forced to do this because this is what happens when you have to think meticulously. You
every day.
Thinking of conspiracy. yeah. And when the kind of news gets in your head, it's very hard to just stick with the thing you thought 4 weeks ago. It is ever changing. When really, it could be that simple that the answer is what you thought 4 weeks ago, which is that they have made a decision to stay with him. They just don't want to do too much talking and add more noise. But essentially, the noise, because the noise is always going to be there because it's Man United. So if they come out and say that he's staying and announce that he's definitely going to be here next year, and we'll look at it, next year, because then he'll need a top up on his contract because he'll be out of contract next year, won't he? That would then come with more noise. Like the summer would be dominated by that. Early next season, it'll be dominated by when's Eric going to get a new deal, this, that, and the other. There's going to have to be a point where they come out strong and say, we're sticking with him. But essentially, though, they have to use it to their advantage that Eric hasn't got long left to make him continue this audition. And that audition might have to even go into, a summer transfer window, see what it looks like with him, then see how we start the season by still not giving him a new deal, because then they're like, right, if it does go wrong, it's easy to transition out of that. But it's a manager's market. When Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth get in there, they could say, we really like this candidate and he's available now.
Yeah, and we've done our due diligence.
We've got to do it. It's not going to be nice, but we believe it's the best decision. It's the best sporting decision. And that's why I think also the time, you could have to wait for that as well, where they're like, who's actually available? What's going on? What's the noises out there? Like, I don't know, man. It's very so long difficult. As they haven't come out and said it, anything's on the cards.
Yeah. I would tend to agree in the sense that a couple of weeks ago, when Gary Neville was coming out, and I certainly was saying, I think they've made their mind up. I don't know what that decision is, but I think they've made their mind up. But then so much has all changed since then as well. And it does, maybe the better way of putting it does feel like they're definitely keeping their options open. Because I think they certainly are aware that at the moment, because of obviously the Liverpool game and things in terms of the Champions League opening up, an extra spot, people above us dropping points, things have suddenly opened up again. And 3 or 4 weeks ago, it looked like we weren't going to get anything out of this season. And now we're looking at it going, we get a trophy and a Champions League spot. We didn't think that was possible. And suddenly your perception of the season changes immensely.
Could have the same season as last season, but with a better trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, not probably finishing third, if you ask Marcel, but Champions League spot and possibly a trophy or possibly a final, you go, well, actually, maybe that's not too bad. But my point is...
Sorry, go on.
But my point is with it is that, to your point, is I just don't know. I don't know. I think it's because there are still games to come. So...
What do you lean more towards? Owen's gut right now, 26th of March. I know it can change. We could go and draw against Brentford or lose against Brentford. And you're like, I don't know, man. What are you thinking?
Well, my prediction previously was I didn't think he would be there because I didn't see him getting the results he needed to get what was previously top 4. And a lot of people thought we were going to go out against Liverpool in the FA Cup. So it seemed pretty unfeasible that we were going to get anything out of the season. But context is really important. That's changed. And now I'd be looking at it going, if we don't get a Champions League spot, I'm not saying top 4, but I'm saying a Champions League spot, you would look at that and go, and I tell you what, you had a really good opportunity there at the end of the season and you fumbled it, massively fumbled that one. And even if you look at the FA Cup, if things go as people think they're going to go, you'd probably say it's going to be City United again in the final. But it's a final and anything can happen. And to be honest, last year when we played City in the final, we weren't blown away by Manchester City.
No,
we just weren't that good. We weren't that good that day.
City and then 13 seconds in to do that, to have that get done to us, and then get back to 1-1, really, to be fair.
Exactly. And you would hope maybe because when we played City twice this season, both times we've been kind of battered, you'd be like, this is the time that he's going to get it right and we win the FA Cup maybe. But so to go back to your point, so I want to dodge the question. If my gut now says that I could see him being there at the beginning of next season. I could, just because those results that I didn't think he was going to get, he's already got a couple that I didn't necessarily think. But this can change really quickly as well, because if we go to Brentford on Saturday and we lose, not the top, like the Champions League dream's over, but you go,
so that's a big come down from the high the other day, isn't it?
That's why you go like, well, that's why I don't think we'll get it, because just when you think momentum's going, as has been the case all season, just when you think right now we're going to kick on, then we fall off again. So the next 3 are really important, aren't they? The next 3 games. If you get a win against Brentford, if you get a win against Chelsea, and if you beat Liverpool again, then you would say like he's going to stay. He's going to stay.
If it's weird how you say it shouldn't change after over a few games, but it's like this batch of games could really. I feel like it can actually give him the tools to stay.
But it's not that one result. I remember you did that flex review, and people were criticizing going, you can't believe you flip-flopped after one game. And it's like, well, it's not just that game. It was everything that led up to it, because it was the teams in Europe that went, right, the English teams have done well, 5th spot, very likely to be Champions League for the Premier League. You go, well, that's big for us. Then the games after that, your rivals for those 4th and 5th spots, your Villas and your Spurs, they drop points in games that they were expected to get all 3 points. Villa drew, Spurs lost. And then we get to this stage of the season. We were talking about the stage of the season earlier on. We get to the stage of the season now where you look at everyone's fixture list, or the fixtures remaining, don't you? You go, right, we've got this, we've got them. Who have they still got to play? Oh, they've got the top 3 still to play.
You start nitpicking what's
they're going to
going
drop.
on,
You start trying to add it up, don't you? Go, well, they're going to probably drop about 6. I mean, we've got to make sure we win this amount of games, and you start doing
crazy.
the maths. Yeah, and it never goes the way you think. Because we'd have all said, oh, Spurs, they'll go to Fulham, they'll win that game. They lost 3-0. So anything's possible.
Yeah. It's weird. I think it is ever changing. It's really hard to and some people can, but I think it's just so hard to like pick that stance and stay with it, because it feels like it's an ever-changing solution. Not a solution. Situation. It feels like an ever-changing situation, which kind of fits in with why INEOS are not committing. I think because the book's still there to be written for the end of the season, and it's like if it's a big if. Some people can say you're living in dreamland. This is the problem. You know that our fans get hope, and then they get the hope squashed. Like this is the. Some people are really in that camp and have made their mind up long time ago, and that's cool. But to INEOS, it's like the fact that they're being non-committal. I'm like, I think they believe that too. Well, we'll see how this batch goes. I mean, if we beat Liverpool, we've got a favourable draw in the semi-final.
Season
could
be
final.
very successful. Still, it could still be very. I mean, we could have a successful
got past
season.
City, if we got, I mean, that's what I was going to say before you finish making your point. I was like, if we went from 3rd in the Carabao Cup trophy to 4th and an FA Cup, and to win the FA Cup,
or even
5th with an FA Cup. I think winning that FA Cup, because we know who it's going to have to be against. If we get over the line and do that, there's some serious credit there. I think if you get 2 trophies in 2 years,
I don't think you can get
with all these injuries. You can't.
How can you? How can you? You can.
But people will say we did it with Van Gaal. We did it.
Yeah,
we got rid of Van Gaal.
But that season, but again, that's not even totally.
And we finished 6th.
5th that season, but it was Europa League. We went to the Europa League, so it is different in that respect. He would have. You can say, it's but
is it technicality?
Because the rules changed. Because the rules changed. Because the Champions League
the standards police will be saying, listen, he got lucky off a technicality that Arsenal won in their thing. Aston Villa kept winning. That's not really him deserving to get in the top 4, Owen. Let's be careful.
But you say that. But you say that then. But the rules have changed. The Champions League is not the Champions League that we know anymore. The rules have changed. There are more teams in it. Therefore, we shouldn't even talk about top 4 anymore, should we?
But when they say, even Ollie said, the league is where you find out your true thing. And if we say we're going from 3rd to 5th, we're worse. We're worse.
Yeah, we've had a
even
worse,
if we won the FA
season.
Cup. But
I don't think in a season where the top 5 counts for the Champions League, we can get angry because we didn't get top 4 to qualify for the Champions League. But we still did. Like what? Like the season that Jose's first season, are people calling for his head? No, because he got into the Champions League by a technicality. He won the Europa League.
Yeah.
That wasn't always the rule.
And when did we finish 5th that year, isn't it?
I think it was 6th. It might have been, yeah. You know, but it doesn't. So basically, my point is, it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you do it.
Just get there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's get to this. Oh,
this is the real final boss.
Let's lead up to that big crescendo. Daniel Luciano says love from North Korea. Daniel Luciano also says Flex, check the lookalike post when you can. Big up. Yeah, I will do that. I'll do that when you're saying that. I will do that. Harold Malepo says, while we don't know what the decision is, I doubt that INEOS is basing its decision on ever-changing dynamics. Erik ten Hag is their man, or he isn't. Do you know what, Harold? Well, when he says it like that, because that's the opposite to what I just said. But when I read Harold say that, I'm flip-flopping back to that. I think he's right. Because it's either he's their man or... I don't know. I don't know. Oh, no, you can't speak right now, so I'll take it up to you. Harold, you know what, Harold? After we build up to Nubian Pharaoh and get the rest of the super chats read out, we're going to come straight back to that point. Because you said that, and I'm like, you got a big... Yeah. Wait, anyway, yeah, big up, Harold. Daniel Luciano has gifted 1 membership as well. Big up to you, Daniel Luciano. Thank you for that, bro. Always ever present. And Nubian Pharaoh. The Pharaohs are in the chat. The Pharaoh, the one, has entered. The ruler of all, the conqueror of all land and sea, has entered the chat. Joe Blackman, Kristen have all paid homage. Tabrez, Kenny Fan TV, Daniel Luciano, Court Star, John James, Mike, Zach, M.A., Lil Yo-Yo, Matifalu, Mac, who else? Mafita, Uncle, Marion Jones, the list goes on. Herb Green, Keegan have all paid homage, as well as many other people. The Pharaoh is here, Owen. Acknowledge him.
Hi, folks. Great show.
Thank you, Nubian Pharaoh. Yes, it is a great show. It is a great show, Nubian Pharaoh. It's a great show because everybody's getting involved with their chat.
Acknowledge me.
Yes. Acknowledge. Yeah, so many people are getting involved in this, Owen. And back to Harold.
Yeah.
He says, while we don't know what the decision is, I doubt that INEOS is basing its decision on ever-changing dynamics. Either Erik ten Hag either is their man or he isn't. And I know we just spent 20 minutes basically saying, yeah, you know, but then when I just see it written like that, I also believe that too, which is why I don't know. Do you think they're just putting it all in? We'll just wait and see, that ever changing?
But this is what I was saying before, and this was kind of what that article was saying yesterday, is that I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, because to the point from, I think it was Pete Hall was saying that, well, they're doing their due diligence on all of these different people in the event that maybe he's not their man. So maybe they haven't. Maybe they've got all of these different options they believe ready to go, and they will make a decision, you know, at the end of the season. I suppose maybe to what Harold is saying, that maybe they have an inclination, a sort of soft area that, okay, provisionally, we think we're going to go in this direction. But I don't think maybe it's as firm or concrete as maybe we were to believe a couple of weeks ago. Or maybe it was a bit more concrete a couple of weeks ago. But like I said, stuff changes. Like it does. And that is when, I know we make a lot, and we're online, football chatter. We make so much talk, don't we, about flip-flopping. We take the mick out of KG for flip-flopping and what have you. But there is this sort of weird, you are not allowed to change your opinion on anything. You realize that, Flex? Once you've said something, that's your line in the sand. Heaven forbid you change your mind. Heaven forbid something happens that you didn't think was going to happen. And you go, actually, based on new information or based on new events, I'm going to change my mind with that. How do you flip-flopper? Stick by your principles. No, stuff changes. Football changes. How many players throughout history have that been written off by clubs or fans, and then suddenly they turn it around and they become fantastic players? It happens. How many managers as well? And
yeah,
all
the Arsenal fans, mate.
Sir Alex Ferguson. Alex
Sir
Ferguson.
Alex.
My goodness
Yeah.
me. At the beginning of his one. And do we look, people will feel better because if they've backed this player or manager since the start, and some that called for their head will look like fools when they go on to be successful. But that's also football. Like that's just how
if you look like a fool, it's more
works.
like I stand corrected. I just didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
Fair play. Like you have to.
Yeah.
It depends how you accept the L.
I mean,
Like,
if you do
you're
that,
still doubling down.
if you do the Rory Jennings and Erling Haaland's not going to score any goals, and then he breaks all the records, then you are going to look foolish. But I mean, if you're going like, Erik ten Hag a few weeks ago, he doesn't look in a very good place because he didn't, and then suddenly you knock your biggest rival out of the FA Cup, and it looks actually possible that you can get into the Champions League next season. Oh, and by the way, it looks possible you're going to get to a final of a competition and possibly win a trophy. That's new information. That's new information that didn't look actually possible a few weeks ago, did it? So I think you're allowed to. Your opinion's allowed to vary on that one, and that's why I think INEOS are covering all their bases. It's smart to do that. Why wouldn't they? What would be foolish for them to do is be like, we're just going to, Eric, you're just completely our guy. And then imagine the season completely blows up. We didn't win a game between now and the end of the season. It's very clear. Oh my God, it's not worked out. But they haven't done their due diligence on what they could possibly do. They would look foolish. If they've like, we are Gareth. If imagine they did an announcement, Gareth Southgate's become a manager. Like that's it. And then suddenly we win every game between now and the end of the season. You'd be like, what are we doing? Like, what was going on? So you got to be careful in that respect. So I think them doing their due diligence isn't a bad thing. And I think it's a very tough one to call. Hence why we've debated it for so long, because there's still a lot that can happen, Flex. The season is very much on a knife edge.
Yes, it is. It is on a knife edge. We're going to move away from Erik ten Hag now and move the show on a little bit more. After Nubian Pharaoh, Uncle Somi came through, been a member for 1 month. And he says, we're all forgetting the caveat of the sporting people aren't fully in. And so Dave and Sir Jim don't want to make sporting decisions. Their words, which is why the bits where we were talking about what Owen was saying and in the reports, it's like they're very much waiting for Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth and the people who make sporting decisions to actually get in and assess this, which true. Uncle's maybe brought me back. I feel like this is the convinced Fleck.
But that's why it's difficult to call.
Make your case.
That's
then
why
you
it's
make your
difficult
case
to call right now.
Like,
because I mean, that's why like the Dan Ashworth thing is positive. It's positive in the sense they're going right. These footballing people should be making
come back. Harold's come back, Owen.
Football, or what's he said?
Harold says, imagine last game of the season for Champions League place. Last minute loss, he is sacked. Last minute winner, he is safe. ? INEOS are said to be super organised. It's got a point. It's not going to go down to something like that. It's not. He's got a point.
Well, yes.
Imagine up until the last game of the season, we could either get top 4 or not. You think it could go down to if he wins tomorrow?
Last game of the season, is it? Because we then we got an FA Cup match afterwards. If we get to the final, that could change it as well.
Bloody hell.
If you missed out by the Champions League spots by, goal difference.
Goal difference. Didn't score enough goals. I tell you what, it's not his fault. We didn't have all the attackers.
And then we didn't win the FA Cup. Then you would look at that season and go, well, then that season you would define it as this has been a failure, because you go, and again, context important, but you go, we had an opportunity to get into the Champions League, we didn't do it. And also, we had an opportunity to win the FA Cup. It's a lot easier for INEOS to make a decision to go a different direction, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is,
especially if we got some more injury. Like, imagine. I mean, I don't even want to speak it into.
But imagine we didn't get into the Champions League by goal difference. Yeah. But we look at we played Brentford at the weekend. It was 0-0. That's on us. That's on the manager.
It'll make it easier for INEOS to make that decision. Should that happen? K Flow has gifted 5 memberships as well. 5 memberships.
Tell me, he didn't just say that.
Yes, I did say that. He's gifted 5 memberships, and we are at just under 1,000 people watching live. 187 likes. We need to get to 250. We always want to do that. And there's a little less watching this morning, but we can still get to 250 likes. Because to be fair, that would be like getting to that's the equivalent of getting to 500 likes. How many of you are currently watching? So that's fine. And Daniel Luciano has gifted 5 memberships.
Tell me, he didn't just say that.
Yes, I did just say that. Daniel Luciano has gifted 5 memberships as well. So big up to Daniel Luciano and the beneficiaries of them. Owen Gilligan, another Owen, says it's raining memberships. Yes, it is. Exactly. welcome everybody. The 10 people who have got those UV memberships. Kobbie gonna get his first start now. We'll obviously who's reporting this, who's saying this, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so it's been reported by a lot of people, in fairness, but, from the Daily Telegraph, Matt Law, Samuel Lucas has also said it this morning as well, saying that Kobbie Mainoo is in line to be handed his first England start after Jordan Henderson was ruled out of Tuesday night's friendly against Belgium. Now, this is an interesting one, Flex, because had everyone been fit and available, like a Jordan Henderson, would Kobbie have even got the call-up, do you think? Because that is a school of thought that
I'm probably going to say no.
That's why they think he was almost upgraded in the sense of he picks the squad, picks the team, then he finds out very quickly, actually, Jordan Henderson's got a knock, he might not play, and they go, okay, then let's give Kobbie a go.
He's actually out. He's out.
But even that's just it makes me sick.
Yeah, of course, and you're right. I think it just shows why in football people forget how important luck is and circumstances need to go your way, because as much as we're really happy that he was, and it does show that he's, the next in line. At least it showed that there's, even with him being injured, it wasn't like, well, Rico Lewis has played centre mid for Man City and right back a bit, let's just put him in. Like, he could have been ultra cautious. He still went with Kobbie, which is good. But I think you're right. I think it's fair to say if Henderson would have been fit, he wouldn't have got the call up. But now it's going to be like, now they've got the chance to see that he's ready, though. Now they actually can see. So that fear that Gareth Southgate usually would have in terms of trying to jump ship that quickly to get someone like Kobbie in, which he probably wouldn't have taken the risk. Now he's going to see with his own eyes in training, bloody hell. This is why I need to be more brave. Look how good this kid is. And secondly, hopefully, fingers crossed tonight when he starts, he shines. He shines.
And it won't matter because you've got these people. I don't know if you've seen them, Flex. It's very, very salty. A lot of people towards Kobbie Mainoo. Suddenly he's rubbish. He's terrible. I've seen people going, Oliver Skip's better than Kobbie Mainoo. He's just like cleverly. It's only because he plays for Man. It's on socials. It is. Yeah, that's what they've only played a few games. He's only played a few games. It's because he plays for Manchester United. Blah 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 blah. Harvey Elliott, he should be in the squad, not Kobbie Mainoo. Harvey Elliott's played 100 games for Liverpool. Blah 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 blah. And you go, good. I'm happy you're saying that, because come the Euros, if he's in the squad and he does a madness in the Euros, what are they going to say then? He is actually good, isn't he? Very salty. And I don't like when people do this, when they go, he's played this amount of games for Man United at 18. That's the only reason he's in the England squad. Well, yeah, because that's the point, isn't it? Is that he's 18 and he's done it for Man United in these games. And had he not got injured in pre-season, he was doing it in pre-season then. Like, this isn't a fluke. We're not going to see like a Kobbie Mainoo in a year, 6 months time, be like, I can't pass the ball anymore. I don't know what it was like. This is not fluke stuff. This is not even. It's not even like necessarily I go like amazing. He's just in really, really good form. I think it's just his baseline level. This is just his baseline level.
And we're still learning that ourselves.
Yeah, we don't know really like what's a really good Kobbie and what's a really bad Kobbie. We've just seen him, and he's very consistent. It's every game.
In what's he played, like 20, 25 games now? Something like that.
It might even be less than that. I mean, not sure. It's not many.
He's actually played, for United this season. He just oozes, and that's what I mean. Right at the start, like I said, I was very much, I don't know about this. Let's just remember. I kept saying, don't send him England. Just let him cook, man. We always do this. And before you know it, he's made 23 appearances this season. 14 in the league, 4 in the FA Cup, 2 in the Champions League, 2 in the UEFA Youth League, and 1 in the EFL Trophy. So he has played a little bit of youth football this season when he was coming back off that injury.
Yeah.
But he's played an awful lot in the Premier League for his first. He started 14 starts. Which is crazy. It really is. In your breakthrough season, just to play that consistently. But I just feel like the more and more you see him play, the more you're just like, you're right. This is just his base level, man. He's so good. It's scary, and it's like it doesn't. It's not even like he tries to do things that are like super. Which again, that's what I would be more concerned if like he just had a couple of moments. Like, say all he really had was like the goal against Wolves, which was amazing.
Yeah,
you know,
then you would be going, wouldn't you? You'd
then
be
you're like, well,
"Well,"
apart from that, he's getting bullied on the ball, and
but it's
doesn't quite look
every
ready,
game.
but he's had a moment. But
It's
every
every
single game he takes the ball, and most recently that Liverpool one was the one where you go, I tell you what, because then because you don't want to overgas him, the goalposts move even in your own head, and I can admit this. So I'm like, okay, well, he's done all right against, I don't know, West Ham at home or something, like whatever. But they're still big games. They're still big games. Everton away straight after their 10 points deduction. Not easy. Galatasaray away, not easy. And to be fair, he came on in that game, and someone ran off him. Then they scored it. That wasn't probably the best one. Then he had to start against Newcastle away straight away, and we lost again. And he probably didn't. Again, those are the games where we were losing. We were like, poor young kid. What can Kobbie do? Like getting overrun in midfield, we can't do anything. But then there was games at home against Chelsea, away to Aston Villa, away to Luton when it was really tough. The ball's a bit like a hot potato, and he's just calming things down. Then it's like Liverpool rise, and then it's like, I tell you what, man, he's taking a piss. He really is taking a piss. If I just look through some of the games that he played in, I'm trying to just go through them. So yeah, on the bench. So yeah, Everton masterclass. He played 80 minutes against Newcastle, but we were crap in that game. Chelsea, he was on the bench actually in that one when we beat them 2-1. Didn't come on. I thought he played against them. Bournemouth 3-0, didn't play. Then Liverpool 0-0, played in that. West Ham 2-0 loss. He gave the ball away. Aston Villa home. He played in the comeback. 80 minutes was brilliant. Forest got taken off at half time. Spurs 2-2, played 90 minutes.
And that Forest game as well, Ten Hag was kind of criticised for that because it was like, oh,
he was, but
he was the right move.
Yeah, but he was sort of, his justification for that was he did play on the 17th, the 23rd, and then the 26th, and then again on 30th. So again, we have to remember he's young in hindsight. Tottenham 2-2, played 90 minutes. Wolves won us the game, played 90 minutes. West Ham played 64 minutes. That was the 3-0 win, but it was quite comfortable. So get him out
wrapped
of there.
Up by then, yeah.
Wrapped up. Aston Villa came on 45 plus 4. Is that me played or played 90? No, played 90, sorry. Played 90 in that game. Luton played 90. Fulham lost. Did play 80. Man City lost. Played 82. Everton at home played 79. So he's playing a lot of games, man. He's playing
he's an important player
in the FA Cup. Yeah.
It's to the point now when that team news comes out, on the rare occasion, it's rare at this point, on the rare occasion that Kobbie Mainoo isn't in that team, we go, oh no, like who's gonna pass the ball? Because he's the only one that can pass the ball in our team. And
now the England call-ups come, he's definitely like, I think it helps the club. We should be happy he's gone to England because I know the club. Eric obviously rates him. We're playing him all the time, but it adds that extra level of trust and security and development for our player. Where he's gone off, he's sampled the national team, he's played with the best players. He's come back full of confidence, ready to play against Brentford. Just, do you know what I mean? Like, it matters. Like, it's good for his development, man.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's for me, it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke with him. That's his level. That's his quality. He's only going to get better. He's going to be really important for us between now and the end of the season if we are going to get anything out of it. And I mean, there's a lot to be said about putting in that kind of level of performance against your biggest rivals at Old Trafford in an FA Cup knockout game. Like, they go, okay, like that's proper then. That's legitimate. And particularly as well, when you're like a striker or maybe like a wide player, you can just be like in great form and just everything falls to you. You're putting the ball in the back of the net and it can give you a bit of a false sense of how good they are. But like in the hub, midfielder, you can't really fluke that. You can't like just, oh yeah, he was just in really good form, and you know, because what, you're in really good form, so your touch got perfect. Like it just doesn't, like
the way you receive the ball and go on the half turn.
Just doesn't happen. Like whereas with like a striker, you can have it where like it's just it's coming in and everything. Every time you take a shot, it's going in. Like that can happen. But in that space, under pressure, against that level of quality, on the ball, your turn, your footwork, like you can't.
And that's why I'm glad it's not like he's scoring. Remember when Joe Willock went to Newcastle, and he's scored like 9 in whatever, and then he basically got the move permanent. Then obviously when Jesse did it, I'm just talking about famous purple patches, right? Marcus Rashford, look at last year, between a certain period of time, goals galore. Wow. That is the equivalent of in basketball. If you're a big basketball fan, keep giving me the ball. I'm hot. I'm hitting threes. I'm pulling up.
That can happen.
I'm hot.
Like that
exactly.
Can happen.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's way better to see someone. It's not about, like you said, a purple patch of scoring goals, or he's just got all these assists out of nowhere. It's more of the things that you're going to need for the rest of your career. Like if you do that for the rest of your career, but get like 2 goals a season, you can still be world class in your position. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say he's going to be better than Rodri. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, Busquets and the Rodris of this world. Rodri's added a few goals this year. But if you're renowned for doing that job to the best of that it can be done, you're mastering your position. You know what I mean? You start adding goals later on, fine. You go exploring, you add more chinks to your armor. But really, I want to see him do all of the simple things really consistently, because that is what really makes the top players. Like, especially when you are a midfielder, when you're a central midfielder, what makes the top midfielders isn't just being a Kevin De Bruyne or just being an Odegaard or being a prime Bruno where you just create so many chances. If you're not that type of player and you're a thoroughbred 6/8, like, it's how you keep the ball. It's how you evade challenges. Can you drive with the ball? Can you win the ball back? Can you do a bit of everything? How tidy are you on the ball? What's your pass appreciation like? Your weight of pass? You know what I mean? It's all of those things rather than can you score from 25 yards though?
Yeah, and this is why Ten Hag does deserve credit, because you look at the Carabao Cup win last season, he made a point to go to Kobbie Mainoo, put his arm around him. See, these are the moments you go for. And again, it has to be stressed and pointed out that this is where I think, ops that maybe don't watch United every single week, or the media try and spin things. They try and play it like Mainoo emerging this season. This wasn't the plan. It absolutely was the plan. I mean, watch pre-season. The plan was for him to be involved in the team. Maybe not as integral as he is right now, because we did sign Mason Mount and we didn't think we were going to have the injuries that we're currently facing. But the plan was for him to be involved. We saw that in pre-season. Had he not been injured, he would have been involved. So this isn't like a come from nowhere. No one saw this coming, because if you paid attention, you would have seen this coming.
He was on his way up.
I think it's just a case of maybe people didn't think he was going to be as good as he is now.
And maybe, this quick though.
And that involved.
But probably for a couple of off the bench here and there.
Yeah. And like I said, and maybe that was the plan, because I said injuries, Mason Mount, Casemiro, etc. But he was always going to be involved. This isn't like a complete. Oh, he just completely come out of nowhere. No one saw this coming. This was the plan by Ten Hag, clearly.
Yeah. Keegan, been a member for 21 months, says Kobbie might not have got the call up with injuries under Gareth Southgate. A better England manager brings him in, no doubt. The difference is that Gareth Southgate is a fake. And Tabrez says, Kobbie reminds me of Modric, how he sets the tempo.
We've got to be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. Tabrez, sure.
And this
is where the rival fans will go. Listen,
yeah.
And this is because I tell you what, if they said, William Saliba's just he's basically Rio, isn't he?
Hey, do you see that about Saliba with Didier Deschamps? Being like, he's had a good season, but he does things I don't like.
Yeah, it's ruthless at the top, mate. All the Arsenal fans. Oh my god,
I would be though. I would be.
Point is, mate, if Gareth Southgate said that against about Kobbie Mainoo, but at least they've won stuff with him though.
Yeah,
they have won things. Like they're coming from being world champions, getting in the fight. They are the top, and they are stacked. Their centre back, but Yeah, Deschamps is he's a bit outdated.
It was a bit like that last season with with Rashford, you know. And I know people can say, "Oh, Rashford rubbish, whatever," but like last season, he was like. At one point, he had scored was it third most goals in Europe or something? Like it was on fire.
At that point,
And sometimes even Southgate be like, "No, I'm not going to play him. I'll play Sterling instead." And people are like, "What? What are you doing?"
It's the same as club level. That you've got your guys, you've got the people that you want to rely. It's no different. And we always want to see this ultimate transparency of like, if you just play good, you're the ones that get in, and if you're in bad form, currently not playing good, you don't get in.
You can see why players fall out with managers though, like at an international level, can't you? Because like imagine again, like Saliba, like you're top of the league, playing really well. You're young. You've had 2 really good seasons. I mean, when you got injured last season, your team fell off and like bottomed the league. You're like, I know I'm the guy here. And then your international manager, and you know, like you're one of the best in your country. Like you go, I should be in this team, absolutely. Yeah. And your international manager goes, hey, you do some stuff I don't really like.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But that's up to him to choose. He's choosing out of flipping Konate, Upamecano, Koundé.
He plays Koundé like fullback as well, doesn't he? As well to get him into the team.
He does things that he likes.
International management is so crazy.
If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be fuming.
Yeah, because and this is the point with the Southgate thing, isn't it? Because you get people in international management, and it's not to put down Didier Deschamps, like he's won the World Cup, he's done a lot with France, obviously, but you do get people that like just go, that just would not fly in club football at all. It just would not fly at all.
Yeah. Harold says, why are we being careful with Kobbie praise? You know, you're right, because I get basically what you're saying is no, praise away, like the kid deserves it. We're all seeing it with our own eyes. And all the rivals say that, really. Few have salted that he's a good England team, but everyone's saying, nah, man, the kid's good.
I think
even all Arsenal fans on the timeline, Chelsea, I've seen it. You speak, that's one thing about Kobbie. Kobbie is almost like, I think he's going to be another Saka, whereby the nation just really likes him. You can't, if you're a rival fan, you can't.
I hope so. I think we're careful in the sense of we as United fans, we all know what the media does, and we know that the media, like the scrutiny is too much. And what you do, you want to protect your players, don't you? You want to protect the players that play for your club, and I think that's all what it is. It's just going like you don't want to put all of this pressure, all of this hype onto him. He might be able to shoulder that burden, no problem. So far, he has, but. What you don't want to do is set them up to fail, basically. Again, you do have to remember he is 18. Like he's an 18-year-old kid who's his first season playing for one of, if not the biggest club in the world. The media and the scrutiny, because look at someone like a Wayne Rooney. If Kobbie Mainoo goes on to become one of the best players in the world, that honestly, that's the scrutiny to be like an England level. Look at like Marcus Rashford, for example. He isn't even one of the best players in the world. Look at the scrutiny he gets, you know, because he's English and he plays for Manchester United. That's a spotlight that's like no other. So I think that's why fans want to be like a little bit let's just protect him. Let's protect him. You can praise him, you can rave about him, but you don't need to go over the top because you want to make sure that he's insulated as best as he can be.
It intensifies the pressure on him. Like as we're out there saying, he's the next Busquets, he's the next Modric, he's the next mix of Toni Kroos and Rodri, and he's going to be like De Bruyne, and he's going to, I get it. But also, though, at the right moments and the right times, we are entitled to big him up as well and be I do. Like yesterday on DR, they said, who do you think could be a future Hall of Famer in the thing? I just said, I believe Kobbie has the ability to be that. I do. I said, that's my opinion. They were like, what? Well, I said, I believe that. And obviously, you can say that's too strong. He's only played 20. I'm just saying, with the ability that he has, if he keeps doing that, I believe he could be a future Hall of Famer. I'm just saying it flippantly. That's just what I believe. I'm not saying he is going to be.
Maybe is it me? Is it me? And this comes from someone, again, I'm a wrestling fan. So Hall of Fames, I totally get. But does it feel a bit forced with the whole Premier League Hall of Fame thing? Maybe I'm just a bit set in my ways.
Well, because you're the wrestling thing as well. So trying to transfer it into football for someone like you as well, you're like, that's not really what this is. I don't know. I quite like it. I think we should have it.
Look, they have it pretty much with every other sport, don't they? Particularly the American sports. I mean, they got it with NFL. Did they have the NBA? Do they have an NBA Hall of Fame?
NBA. Yeah.
So I get it, but I'm a bit like.
No, I like it.
Like to the point, like, what does it mean? Like, what does it? What does it mean?
It's just, do you know what it is? Do you know what it means? It means what it means in the American sports. Just give them their flowers while they're here.
Yeah,
and I think we should remember the greats
You get like a trophy. You get
I think it's really important to remember significant people who have contributed to the sport, regardless of your rivalry and stuff like that. Like me as a United fan, I can appreciate that, Thierry Henry, is in there as is the greatest or one of the greatest. Or as an Arsenal fan, you should be like, Rooney, wow. Like we should be doing stuff like that. Lampard, I can't stand Chelsea half the time, but wow, what a career. John Terry, oh my God. Alan Shearer, Jesus. I like that because I'm just a football fan as well. I think it should be done. Because I just got into it as well. I mean, look at Ashley, what a player. And then I started winding him up because James is like, I'm like, he's a legend at both clubs. He's a legend at Arsenal and Chelsea. No, he's not. No, I'm like, oh, you lot. And then Robbie was like, yeah,
Is Dennis Irwin in the Premier League Hall of Fame?
I don't know if he's in it yet. And he should be.
He should be. If you want to talk
there
about
loads out there not in it yet.
But I mean, look, with the wrestlers, they get like a ring, and they can on it. It's got their name on it or whatever.
Give them their flowers,
and
man.
you do, and look, it's so important to them. Like they'll walk around everywhere with it on because it's like, see, this is what I did. This is my career here, right here. This is my legacy.
Yeah.
And you're right. Maybe it should be because maybe we sort of
Gareth
forget.
Barry.
Maybe we forget to an extent. Maybe we forget to an extent that because we're older, there might be those people that are like, I don't know, 10 that are like when these players get brought up, they go like, well, they go, I never saw Andy Cole in his prime. You know what I mean? They need to be educated in that sense.
Yes, and with like YouTube, and it's easy for young kids to just find out how good. A lot of them, some like younger kids in my family, right? Like talk about like some of these players. I'm like, how do you know? Icon cards.
Yeah,
on
FIFA.
EAFC.
Yeah.
Fever. EAFC icon cards. Yeah. How the hell do you know Jaap Stam is? How do you know Beckenbauer is? How do you? Yeah, because he's like 98 rating on the mental. Yeah. So it's like, and obviously they can go and watch videos of like Johan Cruyff doing a madness or whatever.
Yeah.
And even for me, that wasn't my era. I have to do that. So they have to know, man. I'm big on that. I'm big on like know your history, like of football, not just tribalism in Man United. That's why I like the Hall of Fame because it bigs up the guys like who really are the big boys. Yeah, so there you go. We did get over 250 likes, which is good. So big up to each and every one of you watching and supporting. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the gifting of memberships today. I think we got about
11
new members. There you go.
Yeah.
11 new members. So big up to everybody watching. What have we got for the rest of the day? We have got the Flexing KG show. And oh no, it's not live.
No.
6 p.m.
You sound like KG.
Yeah, I sound like KG. 6 p.m. Flexing KG show. Check that out. Maybe might have another video for you in the middle of the afternoon. Maybe. Who knows? But we'll let you know if that happens or not. But yes, Flexing KG later on tonight. We'll see you there. Good show, guys. If there's any news or anything that breaks today, we will be on it as well. And it will be officially Kobbie Watch today. I mean, I wish I went to Wembley today now instead of the other day. Yeah. Maybe I might try and go today.
Well, look, Flex, not allowed, there's always some constructive criticism. Justin says here, come up with an original show tomorrow. So.
Oh. Cheers, Justin.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Justin.
Big up Justin Bieber. One of our members. He's entitled to have his opinion. We'll see you tomorrow morning with an original show.
Imagine watching it all the way through the show. All the way through the show. Right as you wrap it up. Be better tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Justin says, oops, much love. All right. It's all love, Justin. We love you. We love you. In our unoriginal show has just come to an end. So we'll see you for an original Flexing KG show, which did used to exist on our channel. So technically
that's not original. Yeah, it's a rip-off. It's a rip-off.
Lil Yo-Yo, great. It says, be original, lads.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. We'll see you later on tonight, 6 p.m. Peace.